Now, it's time for Rate Your Daylighting.
Hey, Jimmy here. It's time for the Daylighting Olympics in New York City as we rate daylighting treatments on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm joined by Rita, who loves seeing safer streets too.
That's right, Jim. I happily confess to being a daylighting nerd. If we give out a 1, that means it's totally ineffective keeping vehicles out, but a 10 is a gold standard treatment keeping cars from parking in the daylighting. Shall we get to it?
Let's hit it.
Groovy.
The first style up is just using those simple plastic bendy sticks with lines and paint. You'll see many spaces like these all over the boroughs.
It's certainly better than nothing, but that's not stopping Johnny Selfish from parking his giant SUV there. I rated a 3 out of 10, but if no one parks in it, it does make pedestrians and bike riders more visible. Let's head over to 2nd Avenue in the Village, where they have widened some bike lanes with nicer stuff. Instead of sticks, this one has tough curbs anchored in the ground. And there's a long metal bike rack that a driver will, hopefully, want to avoid.
And at the intersection, there's space for pedestrians to wait, and it forces cars to make wider turns. I'd say this is a 7.
One of my faves is using planters. They're beautiful. Place them in corner daylighting and you got yourself something that's gonna usually keep out most cars. Sadly though, with the right amount of moxie, they are movable by a human or can be nudged by a driver. With that said, let's rate this a 6. Or you can put so many planters that no one is gonna bother, like a sweet pod of them in an intersection or a layout of fleet in a long row of green. That would be an 8+ in my book.
I see where you're headed, Rita. Why not take that up near a 9? What about offering up a combo? Take those planters and drop in a slab of rock or granite. After all, a giant crag or boulder ain't going nowhere unless you own a forklift.
The more heavy the object, the more protected people will be. And if people can't park there, the more effective daylighting will be. And poured concrete curbs or islands is definitely a 10, like these daylight waiting areas for pedestrians along 9th Avenue in Manhattan.
I think it is time we hit the lightning round.
Hell yeah!
Some quick takes and analysis on daylighting in NYC.
This spot in Brooklyn has ample sightlines for pedestrians using paint, a bike rack, some slabs of rock, and a raised crosswalk too.
This Queens bike lane has a long row of plastic curb which bows out to the driving lane. It's a nice feature, but sometimes ignorant drivers still park here.
Here in Manhattan, see how this daylighting forces the driver to slow and make a more deliberate turn. The peds finish their crossing and we wait as the bike rider passes as well.
They really made intersection visibility a priority along the 34th Avenue Open Street in Queens. It's beautiful.
That really is. Wherever we have daylighting, it must be hardened. That's the message. See you next time.
So what did you think of our ratings? Too harsh? Too generous? Post your own and scores. Just don't forget to use the hashtag #RateDaylighting.